Hello everyone, thanks for showing up to the channel. I'm coming to you now to show off the new Trilogy Challenge discs for 2020. The other day I went out to a local course and got some practice throws in with them and can show you off those, show you all those throws, and then afterwards I went and played a round with them as well, so I will have that video coming soon. So in this video I'm just going to highlight the discs themselves, and then right afterwards, we're going to go into the throws. So the putter this year is the BT Hybrid Crown. So the Crown is not a new mold, but it is a new plastic blend. It's something that is actually going to be, I think, a little bit more durable overall. It's got incredible grip to it. It really does. Extremely grippy. Smooth but not slick. I really like the feel of it. If they ever decide to make a Mercy in a BT or a Zero hybrid, that would be pretty sweet, I think. But I like the feel of it. I'm never really a bead guy. The Crown does have a bead, so that's going to be a little different for me. It's going to take some getting used to, because some putters I can feel it, some I can't. This one, it just kind of, I can feel it, and it's just a comfort thing. But overall, I remember when I tested the Crown when they were coming out, they were pretty stable, or they were good straight flyers with a decent amount of power. So I'm looking forward to see what this plastic does for it. And then we also have the Bounty. So I've got Fusion and a Lucid. This is going to be this is the disc that's receiving a lot of the hype coming up into this, because Dynamic got rid of most of their understable lineup, and this is going to be the first disc that's coming out that will be replacing something. So they got rid of the Warrant, they got rid of the Patrol, they got rid of the Sling, and this is the mold that they're thinking is going to fit a lot of those other molds options. It feels really nice in the hand, honestly. It's got a really, I don't know if you can see that there. It's got a really pretty sharp down beveling. So it's definitely going to be, it's going to be understable, but not really all that understable. This is going to be probably one of those kind of workhorse mids, I think. It feels very similar to my Fuse. It really does. It's not a super domey profile. Pretty flat. But it feels nice in the hand. And I'm really looking forward to giving these the throws to see what it does. And then we have the driver. Driver this year, the SPZ3. So we have Opto and Goldline. Sits in the 9-speed area, definitely. Thinner rim. Feels really good though in the hand. I never really, when I first started, I never really went to the slower stuff. I fell into that trap of oh, this disc goes fast, so it'll go far. And that's really not how it's supposed to work sometimes. But when I did kind of go back and rediscover the 9 speeds, the 10 speeds, and stuff like that, I was surprised at how good they felt in the hand. It's just something about being able to really tuck that rim into your grip. They're not domey, but they're not quite flat. They got a nice smooth shoulder to it. Reminds me a little bit of a Saint, or a Saint Pro even. The beveling is not, it's not too severe, you can see that. So it should be a pretty straight flyer, really, I would think. Should be a pretty solid workhorse for people. So I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's get into showing you those angle shots. All right, here we go. Okay, so first up, do the SPZ3. So we have it in optoplastic, and we have it in gold line, and this will be the Anhyzer throws. Alright, here we are, other side of the soccer field. Do the SPZ3s then, and that right to left to right headwind. Anhyzer throws. Back on the other side of the soccer field, that right to left tailwind, do the Anhyzer throws, the SPZ3s. On that opposite side of the soccer field will be the Anhyzer throws, the SPZ3s, Anhyzer. Alright, so we're back on the original side of the soccer field. It's going to be the flat shots with the SPZ3s. I'm only going to do it from this direction. The lawnmower's getting kind of close. These travel a lot further than I thought. So flat shots, SPZ3s. Alright, next up we have the Bounty, the understable mid-range. So we have it in Lucid, and we have it in Fusion. These will be the Anhyzer throws. We are other side of the soccer field. You see how they fly on Anhyzer in a right to left headwind. Next up then, Bounties. So much glide. We go back on the other side of the soccer field. That right to left tailwind. Anhyzer throws with the bounty. On that opposite side of the soccer field now, we do the Anhyzer shots with the bounty. So these are going to be the flat shots then, going from the original side of the soccer field. Next up's going to be the bounties. I'm only going to do this from the one side. The lawnmower's getting kind of close. Some of these discs are traveling a little farther than I thought. So this will be the flat shots. Alright, so up next, here we have the BT Hybrid Crown. This will be the hyzer throw. Alright, so we're on the other side of the soccer field now. I had a right to left tailwind coming from that direction. So from here, we're going to have a right to left slight headwind, and we're going to do those hyzer throws again. So we're going to do crown. Wind definitely pushed that one down. Okay, here we are back on the first side of the soccer field. So we're back dealing with that right to left tailwind. This is going to be the Anhyzer shots then. First up, that hybrid crown. Back on the original side of the soccer field, it's going to be the flat throws then. First up is going to be the crown. I'm only going to do it from the one side though. I'm not going to come back at this direction. Lawnmower's getting kind of close, and these SPZ3s kind of go a little bit further than I thought. So this will be the flat shots then, one direction. Okay, so a little bit of afterthought when it comes to the discs. After having now thrown them in a field and throwing them for a round, the SPZ3. Really nice driver, a little bit more overstable than what I thought it was going to be in both plastics actually, and that kind of threw me off a little bit. So I had a lot of shots that I threw on hyzer that I didn't quite get it to flip the flat like I thought it was going to. I had some shots where I threw it flat and it just didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to. It's not necessarily something that's going to fight wind, but it can hold up to a decent amount. I'd say anything inside like a 15 or 10 mile an hour range can probably do just fine. It reminded me a lot of my strikers, probably a little bit more glide than the striker, but overall a very similar flight. The distance potential is very similar. So kind of like a pretty solid mesh of a striker and a culverin in terms of the flights that I was seeing. But a pretty solid disc. I didn't really like it for forehand. I think that was more of just not having thrown forehand at all on it and not quite sure what it was going to do, so I didn't really commit to things very well. Other than that, pretty solid driver. Pretty solid. It's not going to make my bag. I can see it being somebody's workhorse when it comes down to it. A disc that they're going to throw to 350, 375, 400, pretty straight, pretty workable overall. So yeah, pretty solid driver. As far as the bounty goes, this one's probably the MVP out of this year's Trilogy Challenge. Very similar to a Fuse. The glide is incredible on this thing. So much float. So much float. Rivals the Fuse, definitely. It is a little bit more understable than the Fuse. In a tailwind, it would fight itself back out. And any sort of crosswind, headwind, or anything like that, it definitely was going to hold that turn a lot longer. Very similar to a Fuse, but a Fuse can sort of come out a little bit. I would say, I mean, if I were to throw them back to back and everything perfect, the bounty is going to land to the right of the Fuse most of the time. But very nice. Pretty comfortable in the hand. Pretty workable. Not quite as workable as the Fuse. I'd say, because again, it is that little bit more understable. But this is going to fit the bag for a lot of people. If you throw a Compass or a Truth, or the EMAC Truth, and instead of beating something up into getting that understable flight, like this is going to fit that with a very, very similar hand feel. Not quite as understable as what the Warrant was. I'd say overall probably the flight is really, really close to the Patrol, but the Patrol was a little bit more finicky in terms of what it wanted to do, whereas the Bounty is actually pretty consistent in terms of flight. So a good replacement, actually. I know we all know that they dropped the Fuse, or dropped the Patrol in favor of new molds. This Bounty is going to be a fantastic replacement for it. The Crown, I forgot how overstable the Crown can be. In its slower speeds, it is a slower putter overall. Definitely different from my Mercies that I'm used to. Couldn't quite get the same putts off. The bead issue, I don't like beads very much. I don't know why. It's a feel thing. We all have our comfort zones when it comes to discs. Mine is not beads. So, and then in terms of throwing it, I saw a pretty solid overstability to it. It's probably the plastic blend too. That hybrid BT does overstable it up a little bit. I don't know. I want to say that it added glide in terms of putts, but then again, I saw some stuff fall where it shouldn't have fallen. So the plastic itself definitely does change the flight characteristics of the mold. I would say lending it probably to be slightly overstable in general. More overstable than what you would find in BT Hard, BT Soft, and BT Medium. Not that it's a bad putter. I would say if you're a crown thrower or a crown putter, this one is going to become probably a pretty solid approach style disc. Then something with that extra grip that you can really lay into. That's anything that I missed was not a grip issue. The grip on the plastic is fantastic. It was just a release issue and a timing issue where I just wasn't comfortable with that blend and with that mold. but it can definitely fit the bag for a lot of people that enjoy the crown, and maybe, you know, your BT hards just, you know, beat up a little bit too fast for you, so they're not the greatest that you want for an approach putter. This hybrid BT is going to be perfect for you. So overall, a solid group of discs. I would say probably top 3 in terms of, well, top 4. Top 4 in terms of the Trilogy Challenge discs being released. You know, it's tough to beat 2015 when we first did Trilogy Challenges. Was it 2000? Oh, it might have been actually 2014. Anyway, it's really tough to beat the Claymore, the Thief, and the Shield. Those are fantastic Trilogy Challenge discs. But it's top 4. These 3 are going to be top 4, I think. That Bounty is definitely going to make its way out as the MVP, I feel for sure. Now, as far as wind goes, if it's a windy day when you hold your Trilogy Challenge, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough because the Bounty, with its understability, it's going to be very tough to throw in any sort of wind, any sort of tailwind or crosswind. If it gets underneath that disc, the glide is going to kick in big time, and it's just going to soar. But it's fun to throw. Very fun to throw. So I got to give a thanks to you guys for watching this content. Thanks for making it that I want to go out and put out this content, because I know you guys enjoy it. You guys like watching it, seeing how things go for other people. Thank my sponsors, Latitude 64, the Detroit Anhyzer Knots, Gone Disking, and Celestial Discs. I appreciate everything that those guys do for me. And hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, like the video, and I'll be putting out some more content for you guys to watch, all right? Thanks. Take it easy.